Hi Pisces, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your October 2025 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, Taurus of Amverlas, it's a Celtic cross spread as always, and I also pulled the 4 agreements and Wisdom Oracle card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off a Roano's Astrology Ice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have Sagittarius, and for you guys, that's your 10th house of career and social status. It's a little quiet there now, but toward the very end of October, we will have Mercury move into that sign, and then eventually in November, retrograde. But yeah, so you could definitely have some focus on your career this month. Alright, we have 11, and 11th house energy for you guys is Capricorn. In general, 11th house points to friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes. And astrologically speaking, it's a little quiet there now as well. Alright, and we have Saturn. So Saturn is retrograde in your sign, so I'm sure you're feeling that. You might be feeling some restrictions, but also figuring out ways to work through those restrictions as well. We'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. Alright, in the main situation position, we have the World. And challenging that, we have the Six of Wands. So, the World I usually view as North Node energy, which is in your sign, and also Saturnian energy. So what I'm feeling from this could just be saying that for some of you, you might have actually learned something significant, gone through a big growth cycle recently, but the challenge might be you might feel like there hasn't been any recognition for it, right? So it could just be one of those things where to you it's a big deal, right? You're like, okay, I've learned this thing, right? I've overcome this obstacle. I've put this burden behind me, and maybe you're expecting those around you who saw what you were going through to be more impressed and supportive of that, but you might find that that's a bit lacking at this time. In the foundation position, we have Temperance. So yeah, so this is actually the major arcana card for Sagittarius, which we saw in your dice as well. So yeah, this could just be saying that ultimately a lot of you might have actually found a way to strike a balance. For some of you, that could be around your career, but maybe just your public persona in general, right? So yeah, I feel like this is saying that there might have been some tough times that you've gone through, but it looks like you worked your way through them. In the past position, we have the Knight of Cups. So this is actually the court card for Pisces. So yeah, it could just be saying that for some of you, maybe this is saying that you were open and giving to people in the past, right? But for whatever reason, it might have seemed like your efforts were being misunderstood or maybe just taken for granted. In the present position, we have Death. So yeah, so I feel like this is saying, at least in the present moment, you might actually be withdrawing from doing that a little bit, right? And trying to figure out, okay, well, what is going on here, right? You know, you might be saying, what's the disconnect? You know, why am I seeing something one way and it seems like those around me aren't seeing it that same way? So there could be a part of you that's withdrawing a little bit to try to figure out what exactly you're meant to learn from the situation. All right. In the near future position, we have the Hangman. So yeah, I actually view this as the major arcana card for Pisces, also the High Priestess as well. But yeah, again, like I said, I feel like this is you guys entering into a cycle of really trying to go within and figure out what you're missing around the situation, right? What you're meant to be learning from it. And ultimately, I feel like this could be pointing to, could just be one of those things where you might have to just accept that maybe not everyone is going to see things through the same lens as you, and try to have a little bit of patience around that. In the position of your influence in the situation, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So yeah, this is actually Cancerian energy. Well, excuse me, not Cancerian energy. It's Jupiter energy, but Jupiter is currently in Cancer. So that's why I was combining in my head there, but yeah. So basically, what you have is this is in your fifth house of romance, creativity. So this could just be saying you might have a lot of ideas flowing to you. You might have sudden insights around certain situations. But I feel like this is saying ultimately anything that you're figuring out, you're receiving right now as far as messages go, it feels like it's just saying that you're meant to receive those messages at this time. In the environment position, we have the moon. So yeah, so this goes back to what I was saying earlier in the spread as well, to where I feel like this is saying ultimately it might seem like people in your environment just aren't understanding where you're coming from around the situation. And I feel like that's ultimately what the challenge is meant to teach you, right? Is like, okay, you could come forward and present the message to the people, right? But if they're not ready to receive it, then, rather than bang your head against the wall and try to force them to see it, I feel like what you're being asked to learn there is that, people are going to have to receive the message on their own time, So whereas the timing seem right for you guys to receive the messaging now and it's helping with your personal growth as you try to spread that message to others and you find that there's resistance, it could just be saying that, yeah, spiritually, it just might not be their time to understand what you understand at this time. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Page of Wands. So yeah, so for some of you, this could even just be saying that you're hoping to explore, right, and get out of your environment. If you're like, okay, well, the people around me just aren't seeing things through the same lens that I'm seeing it through. Do I need to go somewhere else, right? So there could be a part of you that gets a little bit fidgety this month. All right, and in the outcome position, we have Strength. So yeah, so ultimately what this is to me is that for a lot of you, you will come to that realization that, okay, you know what, that's fine, right? Sure, I figured this thing out. It's important. It's important to me at the very least, right? And seems like others aren't really picking up on that the way I am, but you know what? Okay, I'll just accept that, hey, it was my time to figure that out. If their time to figure it out is later down the line, I'm just going to accept that rather than, again, like we said, bang your head against the wall, trying to get the message through to people. All right, and bottom of the deck, we have the Seven of Pentacles. So yeah, this could just be saying that this is something that you've been committed to for a long time. You feel like it's just been like bringing diminishing returns, right? So it's just one of those things where that could be causing a disconnect as well. So for some of you, this can be an actual financial situation, but for a lot of you, I feel like it's bigger than that, where you've come to a realization around something that's helped your life significantly and will continue to do so. But like I said, it seems like when you explain it to others, you might feel like there's a lack of enthusiasm on their part, but I feel like it's not necessarily, especially seeing the moon in the environment position, I feel like this is saying ultimately it's nothing personal. It's not that, they don't want to be happy for you. They don't want to receive the message. It's just that it's not connecting with them at this time. And like I said, it looks like it's just karmically, it was your time to receive the messaging there and figure out the lesson, whereas for them, it's going to be a little later down the line. All right, from the Four Agreements deck, we have Always Do Your Best, and it says take action on your ideas. All right, it says doing your best means to take action. You can have many great ideas in your head, but without action upon an idea, there will be no manifestation, no results, and no reward. So definitely an interesting message there, right? So for some of you, that could be another way that this is playing out, right? Where you have this great idea for something, but then you're not actually putting it out in the world. And it's like, well, yeah, that could be a great idea. That could be the next big thing, but unless you actually take action toward it, put it out in the world, it's not really going to go anywhere. So if that is the case for you guys, hopefully that message resonated there. But from the Wisdom Oracle, we have mending. There's the artwork. And the number is 52. Let's see what this has to say. All right, this Essential meanings says forgiveness, making amends, healing after arguments. The Oracle's message: each time we are hurt and allow the hurt to pass through us without understanding and integration, we accumulate an unwanted burden. This keeps us chained to the very things we need to heal: the pain, the memories, the echoes of resentments, and the arguments that we rehearse over and over. Now is the time for mending rifts, healing wounds, and letting go of the old hurts in order to reclaim your power. Now is the time to forgive, to release, to make peace, and to make amends to others. Set yourself free. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there, right? And I will say, maybe if that's what this is around, right, where you've at least made an effort to make amends with someone, if they're not open to receiving that at this time, I feel like this is saying, and rather than push that, just accept that, hey, you did what you could on your end, and it takes two in that regard. So if they're not ready yet, at least you could say you did your half. All right, the relationship message says you've come to a place where forgiveness is necessary if you are to move forward. Separate or together, you and the other person are still experiencing the effects of a hurt that is impacting everything you do, even if you're not aware of it. The energy needs to clear. What must you do to bridge this gap? Closing your heart is not the answer. You have the power to heal this wound. Ask yourself, what would love do? Only good will come of forgiveness and an honest redress. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there, because this didn't necessarily seem like a romantic situation, but for those of you, if it is, hopefully that message resonated. And the prosperity message says everyone makes mistakes, especially when you want something very badly. You may come to realize that in chasing after a pretty shiny thing, you lost sight of long-term sustainable prosperity. Sometimes you make choices that look good at first, but ultimately lead to loss or failure. It's time to forgive yourself and others. Don't blame anyone else. You get to start again, wiser and more mature. The journey to true abundance can be bumpy. Make amends to anyone you may have hurt along the way, especially yourself. Forgive those who may have taken advantage of you. Let go and learn from this. You are now that much closer to achieving the kind of prosperity that really fulfills you. Nothing is ever lost or wasted when you view it from this perspective. So yeah, definitely a positive message there. So hopefully that resonates with you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.